deltopectoral approach, but it is possible to do the same thing with a superolateral approach. Anyway, look at carefully all the video available on the booth. So now, what about the humerus? So this is what, the left humerus. So turn it a little bit. It is the left humerus, and once you dislocate the humerus, you have to do the cut. Where to cut and how to cut the humerus? Well, it is different from the anatomical prosthesis because you do not cut at the anatomical neck with 130 degrees inclination, for example. You cut with 150 or 55 degrees according to Paul Grant. And this valgus in the prosthesis is crucial. So the first point is what is the inclination, and you have a guide for that. The guide gives you 145 degrees or 55 degrees, sorry, of inclination. So where to enter the humerus? You enter the humerus at the junction between the cartilage and the supraspinatus insertion. So what we call the rim rent. So you start the entering point right here with this tool, and you start to enter the humerus. So it's a little bit difficult to the solo, but okay, let me cheat a little bit. I start here. So here it's easy. This guide is wonderful because you have the inclination angle and you have also the retroversion guide. What does it mean? That means that you take this pin and you have the possibility to choose between 30 degrees of retroversion and 0 degrees of retroversion. Meaning that, for example, if I take here 0 degrees retroversion, this is parallel. This pin is just parallel with the forearm. And everybody recommends between 0 and 30 degrees retroversion. We did a lot of studies to compare 0, 30, 20, 10. We failed to find any correlation between 0 degrees and 30 degrees. Nevertheless, with 0 degrees retroversion, the internal rotation was a little bit better. So what we recommend is to start with 0 degrees retroversion. So this is 0 degrees retroversion. So you go on, you implant the guide, and you check. If with 0 degrees retroversion, you are like this, it is not possible. You do not want to implant the prosthesis out of the bone, like this, for example. This is not good. So what you do in this case, you just cheat until you are inside the bone. And now it's good. I'm inside the bone, and I will accept between 0 and 30 degrees of retroversion. So don't worry too much about that. We failed to find any correlation. There is no risk of instability. Of course, don't do it with 70 degrees retroversion. Don't do it with 0 degrees, with 20 degrees antiversion. So that is good for the inclination, good for the retroversion. Now, what about the height? How much should we cut regarding the subscap? Well, don't cut too much. The key point is to implant the prosthesis at the end. You must have the metallic part of the prosthesis, meaning this metallic part just above the greater tuberosity. So don't cut too much bone, otherwise you will shorten the humerus. If you shorten the humerus, you shorten the deltoid. If you shorten the deltoid, you get instability. So where do we cut? We cut just at the top, like this, in order to stay above the greater tuberosity. And I cut with this inclination. Good. We start the cut, then we need to remove the nail, of course, otherwise you cannot cut completely. And you complete the cut. So now the cut is done. You have your retroversion, you have your inclination, and you have the height. So a question arises oftentimes, well, what about tuberosity is not there anymore. It happens in case of revision of the plastic. It happens in case of post-traumatic arthritis, where you have non-union or malunion of the greater tuberosity. So, if you do not have this landmark on the humerus, just do a preoperative measurement of both humerus with a scale. And you measure the length of the normal humerus, you report the length on the pathological humerus, and you will know how high you must implant the stem above the ball. I will show you again that tomorrow. So once this is done, you can start with a metaphyseal reamer. This is a metaphyseal reamer, meaning that this part is exactly the size of this part. Here, this is a metaphysis, and the metaphyseal reamer is just to prepare this part for the humerus. So you start like this, very easy. So here it's a sawball. So with a sawball it's always a little bit difficult. If you have a very difficult case, you can do it with, if you like, with power. I like to use power sometimes for that. Let's try. Maybe it's a little bit dangerous. Let's say Jean-Marie told me that it's dangerous. But it's less aggressive. And I don't want to stay until tomorrow with the reamer. So it's usually not so difficult. That's good. You see, when you have the mark here at the level of the cut, that means that it's enough. That is what you reach, that you want to obtain. So that was a metaphyseal reamer. Then you have diphyseal reamer, 6, 9, 12, and so on. So don't try to oversize the stem. Why? Because with a typical Bramall prosthesis, you do not have offset between the diphysis and the epiphysis. And it is a secret of the Bramall prosthesis. If you have an offset, you lateralize too much your prosthesis, you will have impingement during elevation. So you have to accept this concept of Bramall, which is to medialize the diphysis with respect to the central point here on the cupula. So that means what? That means that you cannot use a big stem because otherwise you will have a fracture. So usually I implant 6 or 9 and it's enough. So that is diphyseal, so you can do it, 6, 9. So if you see that 9 is tight, I would rather use 6 in order to avoid any problem. With cemented stem, we do not have a problem of loosening or whatever. So once it is done, then you have the epiphyseal reamer. So I repeat, 3 reamers. The first one for the metaphysis, second one for the diphysis, third one for the epiphysis. This is the epiphyseal reamer. It's very easy. It's like a rectangle. And the goal is just to center it in order to prepare the humerus. And at that time, you choose between 36 and 42. If it is a man, big man, you can use the 42 epiphyseal reamer. If it is a lady like this, 36 is fine. In case of instability, as pointed out Maurizio, it could be a concern, but this is more in the case where you have no greater tuberosity left. But for regular cases, just rely on the size of the epiphysis. 36 works very well. So now we have everything done. We have a good inclination, we have a good restoration, we have a correct height, and you just take the prosthesis, diphysis 6, epiphysis 36, and in those cases, with the correct height, I always use a 6 millimeter polyethylene insert. And that's it. You implant it and you just impact it a little bit. Do we have the impact? Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. So you can try, in order to compact it, you put the retroversion you want. We decided 0 degrees. So this is parallel to the forearm, and that's easy. You just impact it, and you don't try to be too low. Stay just above. And it's perfect if you are just above the little tuberosity. You won't have problem of deltoid by doing that. And it's done. The uterus is done. Don't make it more complicated. Stay simple, respect retroversion, inclination, and height. And it's okay. Any question regarding the uterus? Maurizio, did I answer your question? Regarding your question, wonderful question here.
Yes, I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised that case by case the retroversion will change, because you're putting your guide just the hole on the top of the head. And it's not the bar that says to you the retroversion, it's the hole over the head. It's easier to think about. Well, the bar will be not be too retroverted or very retroverted.
Exactly.
They will be probably between 10 to 20 every single case, because the normal retroversion will be 20 to 30. So
Exactly. You don't want to implant the prosthesis out of the bone. So that means that you have to be between 0 and 40 degrees.
And what I think that's very important is because when you see the boost and you see the technique, you always will be out of this kind of technique if you're choosing a fixed retroversion. I think it's easier this way, and you will have more bone, because what happens is that if you always put in training, sometimes if the patient is 15 degrees retroverted normal, then you will cut a lot of bone. You will cut it to the hospital. So that's surprising. I think it's the most important thing for today.
For me, the retroversion guide is, as you say, to avoid excessive 70 degrees of retroversion or 30 degrees of inclination. But mainly the guide is just to tell you what you need to record it in your operative notes, to say I implanted with 20 degrees of retroversion, because you will check how is your human component. So that's the way we correlated the retroversion and the range of motion and so on. But again, just try to stay in the anatomical path and try to keep it. If, for example, if you have to do reverse for post-traumatic arthritis or revision arthroplasty, where you have no landmark anymore, so yes, you need to have the guide to be, I would say, 20 degrees retroversion. Any other question? Yes, Felipe.
Yes, doctor. Any indication for doing 0 degrees of retroversion to plan a prosthesis now in 0 degrees or an anti-version? I'm thinking in the glenoid, if you have a malversion of the glenoid, do you plan to do it?
Never change the humerus, even if there is a huge retroversion of the glenoid. Solve the problem of the glenoid in the glenoid. Don't